Hello, hello. Hello, species evaluation system. When I was in fifth grade, there was a Mr. Appruzzi and a Joe DiMauro recorded and confessed in collusion with overt criminal enterprises. Now, at the time, I had nothing to do. We didn't get along, but no, we didn't fight. He challenged me to fight. I went to go fight him outside of school one time, and then we didn't fight. Uh, so he's recorded though and confessed and demonstrated and associated with criminality, Joe DiMauro, with undercover, with interstate roles, clicks with criminal justice and with programs tied to it. And others that I never had conversations with and stuff like that. Other was pretending into databases or crime method tied to the Appruzzi into their roles with CCSU with that through time. Intercity. And with live progressions, live progressions, they're building per their roles. Then in middle school, recorded and confessed tied other people with the criminal enterprises involved at the time. And with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso. And with these people now as adults recorded with crimes with police farms, with forensics places, associated with the extended family of my neighbors, associated with identity thefts and evidence as crime rolls and false police reports tied to Phil Cololo and to a Scalora family, recorded and confessed, involved with interstate police and with worse, with them with trade center context crimes, with and as their roles with identity thefts, intercity against me through time, with Glastonbury connections to CCSU, also recorded and confessed, criminally involved, with child offenders, drug offenders, and stuff like that, with the overt criminal enterprises recorded in association with these cliques through time and uses on them, and themselves demonstrated sequentially telling the same finite active body of value, progressive value lies orchestrated to it. In other words, with my area and with our areas, recorded overt criminal enterprises juxtaposed with originally uncharged, legalized ones, and still more legalized but uncharged. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police form. Sequence shifts show physical delusions and lies with reception of the law. The same way people with early states and with colonies could tell, if they had free speech, they were able to demonstrate this witch trial. You're not being honest, Your Honor. And branches leading up to that. They're psychopaths. They're not like just natural psychopaths. Their life progression cover up natures as tools per laws that led no one to have free speech and made everyone have other. 99.9% of the crimes. See, this is what Little Rap Guy and friends are about. Anti-archetypal organized crime. That's the other. See, but they're stopping me from my work. They're extorting me. They're recording, needing not to respond on paper, needing to forge names and switch names because they already know, they heard me what I'm talking about. They're crimes with kids, sex crime acts, interbranch, identity theft crime acts, crime rules in juxtaposition with criminal foreign influence enterprises, overt and unrealized. Recorded methods by us how they do it. So since grammars, these are the same men and women associated with the reception of treatments of such things so critical as finite, active body of truth and progressive value of truth with American history. Recorded criminally foreign influence, its perception as a criminal insidiousness natures with its delivery. Pseudo-positive. You can't defend that and explain our founders' stolen free speech at the same time in the database illusion stacking organized crime method that forced that internation monitored police. And, and before that, it was intercampuses, intersciences criminally re-engineered of and as a value that was revealed by the nations together. Internation sciences, they took over, and they knew that if they could protect, they could protract themselves, developing themselves as internation sciences, and they could trick and hurt and persuade the other nations of science, the states, areas, and nations, states, and area sciences as fact cheap in nature to devalue that. It would make time impositions. It would make a quality of fact cheap in nature that is less than the value that the Campus Marcius was originally revealed as, and with English revealed to teach about how the sciences share an identity. That's why the predicate is simultaneously value with the predicate act. Per space is simultaneously, and for existence / space is simultaneously distinct and non-distinct relationship to all parts of itself. That means the same exact way to every part, but then simultaneously not the same way to every part. This is the difference in the quality of science as fact cheap in nature to explain what causes positive or negative value nature progression as evolution, as positive value progression here made more positive nature volume that is also positive onto itself, which is the difference between positive value nature or negative nature, where and how both positive and negative value nature are temporary positive value nature. Where our nature in our body, which is negative value nature, is simultaneously positive value in nature anyways, because it's a quality of diffusion from space itself onto itself, which will only expand the volume of, not just the nature, the value of the nature of, but the volume of positive value nature that is also positive onto itself. But that's for a system that's overall, not nation shared, as what is recorded, causing negative value nature progressions. And active value body discernment lies physical delusion, pseudosciences. Same thing with finite body of value discernment, because these are bonded by what? By the identity spaces of existence / spaces simultaneously distinct and non-distinct relationship to itself. Then why don't you just say the identity of existence, Anthony? Why say / space? Because distinctly and non-distinctly onto itself as the identity of space, as the identity of existence, and then as the identity of space. Together, they are as the identity of space and as the identity of existence. They're both. In other words, the identity of space is a semi-nature of the identity of existence. But even as a semi-nature, that is the only semi-nature that is complete bond onto and as the value before and then as all finite smallest parts to the order of it. As in to and as the order of all finite means like connected to the active body of value discernment humanity has a quality of diffusion. Life is a quality of diffusion, positive or negative, but in relationship to space is system, a value nature system. Now here, value nature is inside space, but the identity of existence is coming into space. Its complete identity is only a little bit more coming in, as a semi-nature of itself coming in more. But it is a complete relationship, nature of relationship to itself coming in more, causing the phenomenon of only that perfect value gain of the nature of all space together, simultaneously, distinctly, and non-distinctly. So we come to Earth's non-distinct. We're closer to the greatest volume of the inherent nature of the complete identity of existence. Allah, this name used per left to right to teach about Alpha and Omega, and to teach about yin yang inside the O. This is the science that is about the identity the sciences share, because they understood how to cause evolution. In other words, in the range of positive we have control over, where it has a nature of relationship to itself that is simultaneously, distinctly, and non-distinctly beyond in our control. This is the second system we're working with no matter what. Every second, this is its body unto itself as an identity. See, but now we're with a value nature system other, and of tactically degraded value from and as the value of what originally revealed English, the Campus Martius, in ancient times before semi-ancients made modern nations defending what they knew would cause negative value nature progressions, nature's acts, like criminal insidiousness natures, acts like predicate acts associated with criminal enterprises. Criminal insidiousness nature, that's a criminal insidiousness nature act is one too. In other words, mail fraud, murder, extortion acts caused by criminal enterprises. See, now we're talking about the devil. I'm not a police form lawyer, criminal. We're talking about the devil. We're talking about our archetypal criminal enterprise. And we have modern religions that make counters to this, both semi-incomplete, because this is what it's about, the semi-incomplete nature of relationship to itself the space has unto itself. This is a non-distinct, distinct, non-distinct. That's why I'm not just trying to use words. This is being forced by the nature of reality, of the nature of our subject matter, which is the Trinity, correlation nature, which science reveals, because there is an order to and as the value of the finite that is simultaneously, discernibly, as oxygen is invisible but discernible, there is body of value discernment. There is conceptual discernment. And value A. I can't even just say it. You know what I'm talking about. Alpha. See, we lost this course. Alpha is about polarity nature. Polarity nature is about the distinct, non-distinct relationship simultaneously that the identity of existence has, and the identity of the space distinctly and non-distinctly from that as it. But the identity of existence is lower than low, not just smaller than small, and bigger than big, not just great. This is about the identity of existence was a value progression of value and as value's nature before there was temporary space nature that had to be generated by what? the progression, the perfect value progression of the identity of existence, which is what? Which is simultaneously a bond, not just a bond onto, but a bond onto the finite. All that is active value diffusion, with value progression, identity of value progression, and grouped and together too. So there's finite, grouped, and together. And this is rap. And when you put prayer with this, because that's real science, you're using ratiocination, and you're using what is only true always and what is not true in all ways. And also time impositions and quality of fact treatment nature need to discern God distinctly and non-distinctly from the identity of existence, which is scientifically discernible. This is science. This is obfuscated science, because since semi-ancient times means they're making it not understood, keeping it not understood too. Semi-ancient times just reminds. So little rap guy, Reeves and Sepp and Mr. Armenian, watch, I don't know. He changes his name because they're all extorted. Little rap guy and his brother, they made a game to extort New York City, Hartford, and the neighboring suburbs and nations, to counter extort, because they're already extorted. All modern nations lost to the same enemy, that little rap guy and his brother Remus are trying to regain the republic that was criminally re-engineered since semi-ancient times. It just reminds that revealed as value by our species working together. That might reveal the republic, nothing less. I tell it best. Boxing was what was revealed. See, but then the ages that came after this were criminally re-engineered. They're defending lies and delusions, criminal foreign influences, forced reactions to force, sustained, torture, hurt, fake fact treatment nature. Worse than no free speech. Our founders didn't have free speech. With all the impositions on everyone, especially on black people. I'm using that because we don't have time to be, we all have black pupils. I'm saying we're all, every color is a demonstration of the clear, which is positive relationship to itself. Everything else, unless it's being used to gain that value, it's not positive value nature. It's just a temporary positive, negative value nature. In other words, everything's temporary positive. The Trinity. 3+ is automatically that way. But so this is what the ancient snow people are about too. Because this is the right to left and left to right simultaneously. The identity of existence is greater than space. All identities of value progression at once. All grouped bodies of value progression at once. And all finite have a semi-nature that is that complete nature as its identity, but even bigger than that. A little bit before that and a little bit beyond it. And that's that you could see this using science. So we'll go through the course, A through Z, left to right and right to left at the same time. Men and women are valued only as positive value nature that's also positive unto itself. In other words, if we don't make more positive value nature that is also positive unto itself overall, meaning our system together as a species and or as nations, as a value nature system within as regards to care for species before and while. For example, each modern nation is recorded not caring like the ancients that revealed yin yang in English. So yin yang is inside value of, value nature of, letter of, as physics, value nature of, as metaphysics, of values nature, as the identity of existence, which is simultaneously the identity of space. And the identity of space is simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly. That's why the bond onto and as the order of all finite, mixed matter, and mixed just identity of space. And that matter's value comes because it's simultaneously a little bit more and more of the identity of the complete identity of existence is coming into temporary value nature anyways. In other words, it is everything. In other words, positive or negative value nature. But that's gaining value because a little bit more of semi-nature of a complete identity of existence is coming into, and as the forced value progression of that here, or as it forced away from here, as Lethe of Hades, forced space nature transfer, negative value nature, as our quality of diffusion, as our identity of value progression in relationship to what is the system onto and as the value of finite, all active grouped bodies of value together and all progressive ones. So we have everything in demonstration to this. Individual, finite. Then we have grouped sexes. And then we have together, bonded, species value. And then further, positive or negative in relationship to what, though? Not our value nature system. The one that's showing negative value nature progressions. Us. Even though we have cars and better than cars, but that we still are in what our founders were forced not to even mention, or they would have been killed. Short of it, even getting to trying to going to, they had laws against speaking. In other words, this infrastructure was designed before cars, specifically for what kept witch trials, what kept slavery, uses of color, slander of our pupils each, black pupils peer. That might help out to see the clear is value here alone. Regain the home. So that's why Native Americans are in a fact treatment nature trap, just like everybody else, though. And everyone's blaming it on the wrong things and not others, even kings, even queens, even chiefs. No one figured it out. No one figured it out because they realized they could they juxtaposed they juxtaposed everyone to roles formally with what they knew was causing negative value nature progressions, but everyone already needing to blame it on other cause, only capable of blaming on other causes. They tactically denatured human education. Masters of this since semi-ancient times. It's just minds. This is why we have problems with the schools And that the teachers never want. They're already divided. They're into types of experts. So correlation is made defended as fake sides, fake middle. Correlation nature is real Trinity value nature, which is beyond that too a little bit. Here even. And beyond, there's 5 pillars about that. The 5 pillars of the inside the yin yang. 3 natures also, 3 values also as nature at the same time. Relationship to the identity of existence. Perfect value progression, which is what? And the identity exists onto all parts of we're a semi-nature as that. There are semi-natures of our body, cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall, bonded. And then the value progression, the identity of value progression. That those are semi-nature, complete body of value discernment system, always in demonstration to us. The Trinity's value. Lost course returns. Jesus said he is the Alpha, he is the Omega. There's a picture of him on the internet I saw from a Yale website. I'll have the link. I'll find the link and put it here. But it's like it's on his left side, going left to right is value A. I'm referring to that was the correlation reveals that the ancients, the masters we were taught this way. Letter A. In other words, but as a physical value is only value really to the value progression as nature. And everything is its nature. Before negative value nature, the negative value numbers, the bond to zero is the identity of its existence, simultaneous non-distinct and non-distinct relationship to the semi-nature of itself. That is space nature. That's why space nature is juxtaposed, semi-clear, semi-juxtaposed with temporary, forever nature. Identities of value, progression, finite, grouped together. So, even as big as space is, the identity existence is 2 natures, 2 semi-natures, is 3. Is a Trinity nature relationship to this, because overall it is an inherent, active, and progressive value of progression, bonded, inseparable from itself, as the identity of existence, Allah. Left to right and right to left, distinctly and non-distinctly. And this is again the identity of yin yang. And the sciences revealed this together. And the top of the Z, this is not just to talk about life and death, you go heaven and hell. The bottom of the Z, push away Lethe of Hades. Force space nature, transfer is what? Nature. Nature is what? The identity of existence, relationship to itself. See how our identity touches all parts of our body at once? It's its own sequence, even though they're their own sequence shared. This is the sequence nature that native dreams call here. Return. The value of it. The value of it. Which is what? An inherent nature of volume that Earth is closer to the greatest amount of. But too long, our one little species caused Lethe of Hades, Earth's force space value nature's transfer. Value nature, because we're a space nature, inside values nature, which again is the identity of existence. This is science. Now this is ratiocination, which is going to use the word, the letter G, standing for God, value nature God, as what we're not sure about, or we could tell is true always, and or noting exceptions at the same time, which exception nature, and any exception is in demonstration of the identity of existence. It doesn't part, rip, or doesn't, it's only perfect value progression, distinctly and non-distinctly onto it, and as our value, where our complete body of value is simultaneously a relationship to this perfect value nature progression as a semi-nature, and as a semi-nature onto the identity of space. Even though it's a semi-nature of the identity of existence, it also greater than, smaller wise than the finite, as the value of the bond with it, with existence, semi-nature of it simultaneously, and to the body of value. Body of value discernment is clear. Space is both clear and mixed. Semi-nature, which is negative value nature, is the only difference between positive and negative value nature is if we gain the volume of positive that is also positive onto itself here or not. See that, but if you're with internation science is criminally re-engineered, nature is going to continue to demonstrate that you're not plus right to left. That's the overall, right to left. There's overall, middle. Overall is what? The identity of existence bigger than down, right, left, and above. It's overall of it. We're inside the identity of existence space. And it gains the volume of the nature of positive that is also positive onto itself here, or it forces it from here, Lethe of Hades. Then we're negative value nature progression onto for positive value nature progression somewhere else, where it has, you see how negative value nature, in other words, you want to be forged now, to be forged as positive forever nature, just more that is more positive unto itself. We need sciences that overall that are a nature that is consciously trying to only be always positive, what is true, to discern it, and only in all contexts, and to know any exceptions or exception nature simultaneously, not to deny exceptions. With that care overall, simultaneously with active body of value discernment, and with the value of the finite. For example, too, this Trinity, the real sciences, in other words, the ancients, the value of our nature's relationship to itself, the identity of space, it has not the negative, the ground as negative. See, this organized crime method with fact treatment nature made the sciences call ground negative consciously, because they wanted to have all modern nations defending what would cause lie progressions and lie progression cover-up natures. In fact, treatment natures value nature relationship to itself that could be stayed non-distinctly and distinctly just to hide it, fluent through modern nations, control over all opinion natures, over all fact treatment nature, all behavior crime rules. sequence shifting crime rules, delusion propagation, victim predators, to what is juxtaposed, to what juxtaposed this, knowing criminal insidious nature and our relationship to the identity of existence that causes it. Adam is the subject and Eve is the verb. This is to teach about how exception nature and about predicate act. See, a predicate as a verb, as a subject, those are physical things. So as that as value, to understand that, you have to understand how they are in nature, and that's in a polarity nature that they both are together, but distinctly only discern how non-distinctly. For example, if the main verb is not used as a main verb, it becomes a participle nature or an infinitive nature. So if you add ing, you form the present participle to a verb. Now it becomes a noun. So it becomes a participle nature when you add ing. Then we say, oh, it always becomes one. They always have that. They say you always form the present participle by adding ing ending to a verb. You see, but the predicate act is in relationship to organized crime, which is in relationship to criminal insidiousness nature. So it's really about science, Adam and Eve, because it's about how they did predicate acts in relationship to sciences that were criminally re-engineered, devalued. And when you do that, it causes nature, the identity of existence's relationship to itself to force negative value nature progressions, acts in natures like criminal insidiousness natures. So in the beginning of the Old Testament, Adam and Eve become criminal insidiousness nature, because they're on a value nature system, now tactically ulterior from that as the one that is finite body of value and progressions value simultaneously, further positive or negative in relationship to its system. See, this uses the Trinity: ground, body of value, discernment, progressions value. Ground as positive, and noting where it's not, because the identity of existence will only stay. It only can be discerned and found more and more by searching for it, like with prayer, where and how it is for science. Jesus Christ and the messenger of Islam, thank God, thank Allah, the identity of existence, they saved, criminally re-engineered, also with Indian roles with counters to this, because they took African, they took Asian, yin yang. The species was one, value bind. Native American, they totally said they had to come in phases here to make the Native Americans not and to make all the colonists, and to keep the kings and queens and the military leaders all measured blaming on other causes, on other things, and on themselves, the real causes of 99.9% of the crimes. See, they did this by doing sick things to the Native Americans. And you know, they have American history and have other nations' history right through our only realized experts insidiously, taught wrong, untrue. Because our founders didn't have free speech, and that's our course. It's about the organized crime method that didn't let them have free speech, and that forced them to speak other and pretend other, like about it being about money. So in other words, that's seriously the organized crime method, to have blamed on other things like money and like the evil of other nations, rather than discerning how each modern nation was forced this victims of the same thing, which keeps everyone predators. Because you can't defend pseudoscience, suit and tie nations countering it don't even understand their own religions, because they lost the campus marcius value. So fact cheaping nature can't defend what it's defending, its quality of fact cheaping nature, and us at the same time from hundreds of nations, four shared knaves together, as fact cheaping nature styles, all fake sides, fake middles. And that's locked to negotiations, that lock to areas, that lock our schools, that lock our home styles, forced to a pathology from this forced since before cars, tactically as a tactically denatured relationship to nature, dependent upon tactically ulterior from spaces, from existence / spaces, actual value nature system, value / value nature system. Again, values nature is before and beyond value nature. It is coming into more and more, as what causes only let realized perfect value progression and volume of positive value nature. Here, or per the effect of negative value nature forced from here. And so more and more life further from space being caused as our loss of and as Earth's value. So do I believe there is life beyond Earth? I believe that we're causing it, especially like nuclear weapons, nuclear technology, that negative, that value of identity as a value to as a finite individuals grouped and together, and as a values of progression nature. That's Lethe of Hades, and it's being blamed. The causes of it. This is non-distinctly the causes of 99.9% of the crimes, maintaining it non-distinctly through nations that never realized, because they were all measured tools. Pseudo-sophistication only could be built. More and more having to value states and areas inclusion with and as knave victim predators worse than, just pseudo-sophistication. Tactical in on-off campuses rackets originally and still. Religion. This is why these are fact-cheating nature rackets, where the branches of each modern nation are fake morality natures, as victim predators, like they did with the witch trials. They had to hide that with live progression, cover up natures and roles that were facilitated by a breaching organized crime method, keeping everyone as a machine, as fact-cheating nature, criminally foreign influenced. So the beginning of the Old Testament is about Adam is the subject, Eve is the verb. A predicate with English, where the sciences share an identity at the same time, how it's supposed to be taught. A predicate is simultaneously inherent and active and progressive value onto itself, positive, as the main verb. It stays at that identity of value, nature of progression. Eve. So that's why she stands for the main verb. See now, as a predicate, as a participle nature or as a infinitive nature, like if you put to before a word, a verb, it becomes an infinitive nature. I'm trying to think if you put another pronoun. I can't think about it now. But not pronoun. Anyway, excuse me. So, a lost course returns. The drop the force who learns. Now, see when they say about what I almost did the monkey sound, but I couldn't switch fast enough for the topic. The long show. So we have to have the only way we can teach what they did to our founders. They made it specifically so crazy sick, so no one could take explaining it. And again, so everyone will be blaming it on others, things, and on selves. Bach sings, call Santa's elves. They'll read the Santa Claus and will drop the force. I speak of source. 'Twas the surging through all things in different forms. Existence bears this course, before and then as space. The identity of the four directions is because space is inside the identity of existence, Allah. Fa'uza Bala Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. So positive or negative, that doesn't make, in other words, as value, it's where our nature's relationship to itself, which is through another system, though. In other words, in this system, we say go work. Your job, what? It destroys the environment or whatever. Or what? Go work. You teach, but what? You have to be a knave and ignore what you can correlate as child abuses, even because they have the nature of the sciences originally stayed criminally foreign influenced, space maintained, rolls with that. As criminal insidious nature is built just for that, then branches, and with these value nature systems, all theory and stuff like that, they put trading and stuff like that. They leave out the organized crime method against our founders. They worse than leave it out. They obfuscate it. Well, they're worse than obfuscated. Our founding cause. They'll drop the force. The source returns. So it's very important. Vaccine was revealed by the campus Marseilles, older than they see. So what they did was build live progression, cover up nature's needs and roles. And live progression is engineered as an edifice together, suits and tied nations encounters, states and areas inclusion with what is non-distinctly fluent through all nations undiscerned. yet none I've learned. This maintains, this is what the agenda for crazy things like terrorism and stuff like that's not really about money and stuff like that. And where and how that's recorded not true, that's it's because they're not noting exception natures, which shows that that's only true because that was his engineered for all fact treatment nature styles, blaming on other things and ourselves, the real causes of 99.9% of the crimes, a breaching organized crime method, pseudo fake kit. I mean, juxtapose pseudo care, fake news, multi-front, all correlation, sabotage nature, justifications of that as fact treatment nature. So we'll see that how we could gain. The only way we could do it, because it's so sick what they did to each modern nation for fact treatment nature racket, to keep everyone defending culture that's not clear. Which so the way is here. All right, thank you. And so we'll learn. Little Rap Guy and Friends will be the counter. Just in other words, we have to see what they did to the Native Americans, because that's value first. You know, then the colonists, and then the early states still as one trinity, still lost, still through science is already criminally foreign influence here, there, fake suit and tie nations, fake counters to it, all victim predators tortured simultaneously and constantly tortured, fake cared for, everyone, every area in the state, every modern nation since semi-ancient times. It just reminds. It's why there's either concrete, flat, denatured, colonial style home pathology, people stacking, or landscape theater, pseudo depths. You know, even bugs and all the soil is tactically denatured, not so they can control perpetually. Again, invest everyone needing to blame other and only seeing. In other words, those are victim predators. The people with farming, they go, oh, blame this company, blame that company. In other words, what is true always and knowing exceptions, that's what you blame. What is hurting its relationship nature to itself. Correlation nature, free speech never allowed, science never spoke for Hartford, Connecticut, for New York City, and for cities throughout this world, this modern nation trap. Therefore, I rap. The New York game will explain this. Who will play the New York game? All I need is encouragement. I need at least like someone, at least one person I could check enough, or enough people who will do it together. Then that's good enough. In other words, so we have, because we're gonna the New York, the borough's book is gonna be value owned by New York City, and by the Hartford Nook is gonna be a different book. And look, the world will look, and then that will be a book. In other words, we stack means, but then we have to have. See, this is going to be for air, space. So we're going to come out of the trap we're in. that causes negative value nature progressions because we're not using ground as positive. If you're a science, as the campus Mars sees value, this is a relationship to our value nature system, not accepting the physical delusions and the pseudosciences convictions and roles with those convictions blocking free speech because you can't defend that and handle someone needing to demonstrate originally and state criminally foreign influence states and areas in collusion with overt criminal enterprises, privatized ones, all that have been all roles with this victim predators, and by it stays bonding all roles with fact treatment methods and as nature of opinions all needing to justify and to keep sabotage, hurt, and trick correlation nature's actual value. As simple as being able to say, look at that, there's people stacking. Worse than that, crazy laws forced on our founders with still stolen free speech. You can't even say, look at the river going right by the poverty. But you can't even tap it and there are people stacked. And you know what's recorded? You exploiting the fact treatment nature and then pretending they're caring for them, giving them jobs with criminal justice, associating them with interbranch evidence reception predators, recorded originally and still. Now the teachers used to punch the kids because they were victims of what is recorded juxtaposed, overt criminal enterprises and unrealized ones juxtaposed. See, this is a nature of a relationship to itself that is being maintained. See what happens when they have the crazy attacks that are criminal enterprises facilitated, groups and stuff like that. In other words, that are worse than interstate, that are interstate or internationally facilitated. See, we have interstate rackets originally and still that were never charged. We had victim predator branches lifted to spot defending what can't defend that, and free speech and be able to even handle hearing free speeches, ratiocination, tractatus, apparatus. Gotta be this. Consciousness return. Lost force returns. They'll drop the fools. They'll drop the fools. 58.3. So he wants to play the Burroughs book. Then I'll put the first part and I'll look. In other words, it's going to be about organized crime and about how we're going to understand it together. American history as an organized crime loss that we were supposed to counter with free speech of equality of fact, treatment, nature, not let, per identity theft crime method that this is. Because there is, as the least valuable as itself is the physical body of the law. Then is the law's nature. Then is law's nature's relationship to value as a nature that is, as a value nature, is a relationship to what is simultaneously distinctly non-distinct unto itself. Of course. So then as an identity of value progression. In other words, I have to think that I'm writing this now. But I'm having problems because I'm having problems with interbranch cliques that when I was a kid, that are involved with criminal enterprises. Like a DiMauro family recorded and confessed involved with my fifth grade teacher. And then with people when I was in middle school who sought me out to record and confess and demonstrate their roles with criminal enterprises associated with them. And with like their crime roles with investigators into branch and stuff like that, database illusion stack, identity thefts. Like a DiMauro family with a DiMauro's market also recorded and confessed with others tied to them, like Eric Jensen and stuff like that. Recorded and confessed they have crime roles with investigators in like medical corruption, foreign, domestic, and stuff like that. They're like police forms and stuff like that, juxtaposed with drug clicks and stuff with that with the kids. Identity theft clicks with database illusion stacking. Crime rules with people that were from the Trade Center context, and with predicate acts since that per the Trade Center investigators. They also attached me to fake conversations with themselves, doctors in my town, tied to these cliques with the drugs and other crime roles with the kids when I was growing up. Thaddeus Grabowski repeated to me demonstrations of his crime roles, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with Mendez brothers and with Domain brothers involved criminally with the corner of where Fox CT is, and with a Thaddeus Grabowski, and with a Allison Mulcahy. I never had a conversation with. A number of people I don't know either. And the John Maiano said that she had been telling people that she had conversations with me. John Maiano also recorded and confessed and demonstrated having been directed to identity thefts and crimes with people that were in my grade growing up. After, before I knew him. And then they graduated. They did sequence shifts with that because they were attaching everybody to fake relationships to it. They were pretending things recorded. And they're sustaining a crime method on off campus is recorded and inter-branch online too. And with their policing of online. So, see, what they call bullying and stuff like that. I mean, this is a whole bunch of different things juxtaposed. But they're using those kind of terms to hide also what has nothing to do with they're pretending that they think people are talking about bullying because they have identity thefts where they're attaching people to fake relationships to others. Per states and areas originally in collusion with overt criminal enterprises. And as the same needs and natures and roles with federal criminals, with federal agencies and courts taking those same groups down, but as them using them. And for way worse than them, as them. So in other words, drugs and stuff and things like that weren't furthering these criminal enterprises. You see what I'm saying? This is what the Old Testament is a demonstration of. It's about. See how, what's his name? Cain and Abel. They start fighting about their relationship to the value nature system. Because now their parents led them to a tactically ulterior from actual value nature system. But this is also about, so we come to those weird names after the Adam and Eve, of Cain and Abel or whatever. And with the generation of it, and the generation of our nature's relationship to itself is in a negative value nature progression as an identity of itself. We're an identity of negative value nature progression because we're not top-down positive, grouped positive, and individuals positive at the same time. I just remind. See, because the male and the female are already a body of value, complete. It's the semi-nature relationship to the body of value that is the complete identity of existence coming in. Our relationship to that, which is so we can see it. What do you think? The kids are a value. This is the Trinity, not just the species. Is to show the Trinity, to show the progressive value of the Trinity, which is positive or negative as immediate space nature in relationship to the complete identity of existence in its relationship to the greatest inherent, the greatest volume of inherent nature of itself, which is three natures of volume of itself bonded by and as one value, before and as each value, before, a little before and beyond. So wherever there is Trinity, there are simultaneously 5 values. Because a little bit more and more of the complete identity of existence is that unto all is that nature is also inherent into the other natures of itself that are distinct from that. But they're, in other words, polarity nature is a demonstration of this, where it's the same nature, but there's an overall yin yang, and then there's the inside, the little parts. The ancients would, there are proofs call this Alpha and Omega. And then there's Romulus and Remus to the discernment of Romulus and Victoria. See, but Victoria is victory's clear value discernment. And that's why we put value AH. See, V stands for letter V, value nature V stands for victory. VW, victory wall. And then extinction. QVWX. X stands for extinction. That's the only letter you put an E, or you put a letter in front of to decipher it. Extinction. Because now our nature left our physical body. WXY. Because that is value. Our nature. And then its relationship to the complete identity of existence is demonstrated by the top of the Z or the bottom of the Z, and by the height, semi or complete length. Height, the top is a length full, but we're value completely. If we're only temporary value to temporary space nature, temporary positive, then we're still bottom of the Z. Lethe of Hades, forced away from here. Negative value nature. As semi-nature memory, in other words, to the identity of existence, complete memory. Why would we have memory but not the identity of existence? That was our nature before it. And that our nature is a semi-nature relationship to. Religion, you, be true. Campus Marcius calls. Through time, we need the name return, call lost and found. Who'll play the game? The brain in book becomes real fast when class is told, when that class unfolds. who lead, who play the game, who advertise their people. Play the game, say its name, the Burroughs book. So it's not hard to explain. It's only what only makes you think that is what keeps this on off campus and engineering that is now invested having can't defend itself as fact cheap in nature without blaming it on others and other on selves. The real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, like predicate acts, like criminal and seriousness natures, like wrongdoer natures, wrongdoing, too. Religion, yes, be true. No, it's no, come in. It's good.